Shalom. I am a shepherd. King David was a shepherd. He knew a lot about sheep. Sheep stink. And they are stupid. And that is why King David said he was a sheep. That is why I am a sheep. That is why you are a sheep. King David wrote his song about the sheep and the shepherd. He said, Jehovah is my shepherd. I shall not want. I shall not lack. He makes me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. Sheep will not lie down if they are afraid. And that is why the shepherd must make the sheep safe. Sheep will not lie down if they're hungry. Sheep will not lie down if they are bullied by other sheep. Sheep will not lie down if they're worried. And so the shepherd, Yahweh, Jehovah, must protect us and provide for us so that we can lie down, so that we can rest. The shepherd also must bring the sheep water. Now, that can be in two ways. Sheep get up early in the morning, not like some of you. They get up early in the morning when the dew is still on the grass, and they will receive enough water, enough moisture, enough to drink by eating the grass upon which the dew still clings. And so the shepherd must get them up. They've been lying down. They are sleepy. And so the shepherd comes and he rouses them up so that they can eat the grass that still has the dew upon it. But there are times when the shepherd cannot lead them to where there is grass with dew, and he must provide them with water. In my country, it is dry and barren. And that is why when King David wrote about making the sheep lie down in pastures that are green, that was a very wise choice, because most of the pastures are not green. Only a good shepherd will lead his sheep to where the pasture is green. Only a good shepherd will lead the sheep to where there is water. Sometimes the shepherd must provide the water. I have dammed up a creek so that it will build up behind the rocks, so that the sheep will have water that is still, that is not fast, that is not flowing. They will not be frightened by it. You see, it is not idle that King David wrote that he takes them to where the water is still, upon the grass as dew, upon a place he has dammed up so that the water is still. He restores my soul. Sheep, not only are they stupid, not only are they lazy, sheep can get cast. Sheep will fall over. And they get comfortable. They find a low spot in the ground. And they nuzzle into it, like you do in your bed. But then sometime during the night, the sheep will start moving and roll over. And when a sheep gets on its back, it cannot get up. It is cast. It is stuck. And so the shepherd must rescue the cast sheep. Sometimes when a sheep is with a lamb, she will get cast. Sometimes when a sheep has very heavy wool, she will get cast. He will get cast. Sometimes when a sheep gets too fat, he will get cast. Cast sheep die. That is why a shepherd must count his sheep. So that when he is finished counting the sheep, if one is missing, he will go out and find it. And if the sheep is cast, he will have to set it upright. And he will have to hold it between his legs, holding it upright until it can stand on its own. And he will make it feel secure. He will rub its head. He will rub its ears. He will speak soft words to it. You are fine now. You do not need to be afraid. I am here. I will watch over you. Because you see, that is what the shepherd does. That is how the shepherd restores the soul of the sheep. The shepherd leads the sheep down the path. Sheep will graze and graze and graze in one spot until they eat all of the grass, all of the root, digging the root up out of the ground with their nose, with their hooves, until there is nothing but dirt. And then they will die because they will starve. And so a good shepherd has to lead his sheep along the path of righteousness. A good shepherd has to make the sheep move. But know this, a good shepherd will never take a sheep down a path he himself has not been already. And so when you read, when you hear that the shepherd will lead him in the path of righteousness, know that the shepherd has already gone there before him. And so the shepherd lays down his life for the sheep. If they walk through the valley of the shadow of death, they will fear no evil. Because the shepherd has gone before and he has driven out the jackals. He has driven out the lions. He has driven out that which would harm the sheep. He has been through the pasture. And he has pulled out from the roots the plants that would poison the sheep, because there are plants that are poisonous to sheep. And they look so good, and they look so tasty, and they look like they will have lots of nourishment, and it will kill the sheep, particularly the lambs, the young ones. And so when I am leading the sheep to pasture, I must keep them behind me, and I must go to the pasture ahead of them down the path, and I must see that there is no grass that will harm them, no weed that will harm them, no plants that are poisonous to them, so that I can lead them in that path. Otherwise, they will stay in the same spot and eat until there is no more grass, and then they will die unless I make them move. The valley of the shadow of death, they will fear no evil, for my rod and my staff are with me. Two very different things. Sometimes if we have wild dogs or jackals, I will throw my staff at them to scare them away. Sometimes, if my sheep are wandering, I will throw my rod at them to bring them back. They know the sign. Sometimes I must take my rod when I'm counting the sheep, so that I don't lose count. But there's something else I do with my rod. If a sheep, particularly a sheep that has a lot of wool, I may not know that they are injured. I may not know that they are hurt. I may not know that there's something wrong. And so I will take my rod and very gently run it over the sheep so that I can feel if they are injured. I can feel if the hip is out of joint. I can feel if something has attached itself to the sheep. And so my rod and my staff are there to comfort the sheep. With my staff, sometimes when a lamb is young and it's fallen perhaps into a ditch it cannot get out, I cannot lift it out. Because if my scent gets on the lamb, his mother will reject him. And so I have to take my rod and very carefully get it under the lamb and lift it up and bring it to its mother without touching it. But there are times when the staff must be used for other things. If I am attacked by a jackal, if I am attacked by a lion, then I will use the staff and I will hit it. And it will kill it. So the rod and the staff, they comfort the sheep. You see, even when the sheep needs to be disciplined, I want them to know that I love them, that I care about them. And that is the way it is with Yahweh, with Jehovah. Even when he must use the rod and the staff to move us, to drive us, he does it in love. The rod and the staff, they comfort me. I want these things not to be feared, but to be respected. Yahweh wants the rod and the staff, the things that he must use to protect us, to preserve us, to discipline us, so that we will respect him and know his love for us. You see, the sheep must be cared for. Sheep require more care than any other animal. I know you're thinking, we have horses. I have 1,000 sheep. They take a lot of work. I have help. But my sheep know my voice. Sometimes when there is danger, perhaps a lion nearby or a jackal, the sheep will be calmed if I just walk among them, if they can see me, if they can hear my voice, if they can hear me say, I'm here, I have you, I will defend you, all is well. You see, the rod and the staff is a comfort to the sheep. He anoints my head with oil. When I get a sheep, whether I purchase the sheep or whether the sheep is born to my flock, first I must mark that sheep. I do it by making a notch in the ear. The ear that I notch, the way that I do it, the manner in which it is, the position of the notch, says that sheep is mine, no other shepherd owns that sheep. And so it is when we are Yahweh's sheep. He marks us. He puts his mark upon us so that people will know that sheep belongs to Yahweh. But then the sheep must be anointed with oil. There are flies that get in the face of a sheep. They will get up their nose. No one likes that. And so I have an ointment that I make with oil and herbs to keep the flies out of the sheep. So King David knew that when he said he anoints my head with oil, because if I love my sheep, if I care for my sheep, if I am concerned for my sheep, then I must take every sheep and anoint their head, their nose, around their eyes, their ears with the oil so that the flies will not bother them. They will leave them alone. They will not drive them mad. And so the sheep must be anointed with oil. King David wrote that he sets a table before me. What that means is that the shepherd continues to drive the sheep, to lead the sheep up into the high pastures where it is a flat place. Because that's where the grass grows. That's where the nourishment is. You see, if a shepherd does not lead the sheep in the path of righteousness, if he doesn't lead the sheep to a place where he has already gone, if he does not keep them moving up to the high ground, they will starve. They will be malnourished. They will not grow. They will not produce. And so I have to lead my sheep to the tableland, to the place in the high mountains that is flat, where there is grass, where it is cool in the summer, where they can feed and grow, where they can get water, where they can be refreshed, where I can care for them. I wish that all my sheep would follow me, but they don't. Sometimes the sheep, usually an old ewe, will decide to strike out on her own. You say, well, it is only one sheep. Yes. But the difficulty with that is that other sheep will follow her. And pretty soon, her lambs will follow her. And then, if I do not stop it, their lambs will follow. And so there are times when I have to take a sheep out of the flock, so that other sheep will not be harmed, other sheep will not wander off, other sheep will not go astray, other sheep will not be led by the sheep that has wandered off. And again, there is the rod, the staff, that is designed for comfort, because I don't want my sheep to fear any evil. I want them to be in a place of safety. I want to be able to anoint them with oil. You see, I want the sheep to understand that everything I do for them, only goodness, is to pursue them. What I do for them, sometimes it may make them uncomfortable. They don't like it when I get them up in the morning so that they can eat the grass that has the dew upon it. But still, I do it for their good. Only goodness and love, that is how I pursue them. And I want it to follow them all the days of their lives. I want that to be a part of their life so that they recognize the sheep that are mine. They know that I care for them, that I love them, that I want only good for them. Your theme is about abiding. And that is what King David wrote. They will dwell in the house of Yahweh forever. They will abide in the house. I want my sheep to be with me, to stay with me. But see, it is not only a single sheep. Sheep are a flock. Here we are a flock. You will leave here and be a part of other flocks. But it is the desire of the shepherd, the chief shepherd, Yahweh, Jehovah, that you will abide with the flock, with those who are the sheep of Yahweh forever. So when you think of the sheep, when you think of who you are, who I am, because I am a shepherd, but I am also a sheep. And I want you to dwell, to abide in the house of Adonai forever. I want you to be led in the paths of righteousness. I want you to be in the place where you are able to lie down in the grass because Yahweh has protected you, because He has provided for you, because He has watched over you, because He has driven the enemies away. I want you to be able to walk through the valley of the shadow of death and fear no evil. Because Yahweh is with us. Because He is the shepherd that does not slumber or sleep. Because it is His desire that goodness and love will pursue us all the days of our lives, so that we can dwell with His flock, abide with His flock forever. Shalom. Thank you for your time. If you would remain silent while someone comes to close us.